Okay, welcome to Giving Tuesday Pizza for a Cause, coming out of the Boca Lupa Coal Fire Pizza in Northport, Florida. There's two there. They're at the one on Aiden Lane. And our co-host here is John Rawlings. Raise your hand, John. And
Woo!
and Dee Dee Gozian, who is the executive director of the Northport Art Center, who's the recipient, not Dee Dee herself, but the Northport Art Center for Pizza for a Cause for today. And then Victor Gardner, and we'll let John take it away because I know the questions to ask these guys, but John's a much better interviewer.
Well, I wouldn't know about that, but we did all these sound effects on purpose because sitting outside without motorcycles going by in the state of Florida would not be a normal thing. So I paid these guys to literally drive up and down 41 so that it would remind you every time that a motorcycle went by, give an extra $10 to your favorite cause. So I arranged all that so that it's a reminder that every time you hear a loud vehicle go down the road, think of your local charity and give strongly. It is Giving Tuesday, and we give in a lot of different fashions, and we've been talking about that all day. But I've got Dee Dee in the house, and I really want you to talk about why you're here today.
Well, we're here, and we happen to be the recipients of Pizza for a Cause this Tuesday, Giving Tuesday. And the reason that we requested it is to raise money for our programs at the Northport Art Center. We have many different community programs as a community art center. We try to have experiences for every age and every ability.
We do.
Victor's one of the people that come to the Art Center on a regular basis. He's also a board member there. He started, 10 years ago, Victor?
Yes.
10 years ago, he started taking classes.
This isn't fair because she just took over the interview. I can't believe that, but not that
Well, she's a co-host with me. John, she's my co-host with me
we just started a conversation.
And actually, she always says that she's shy.
We're at Giving Tuesday, and she's giving it all right now. So just keep that in mind. But go ahead, Dee Dee.
Well, I guess I was at the point that we have a lot of programs.
Yeah.
And so we have programs for children. We have programs for adults and seniors, especially if you find yourself a senior and you don't have friends in the community, just maybe moved here. It's a great place to come, take a class, start getting to know people, volunteer. It's a great way to meet people in the community, a great way to spend your time. We have very healthy, mental,
relaxation.
ways to express yourself and feel better about life. Especially now, I think we all need to feel a little bit better about
absolutely. Dee Dee,
So I'm going to ask you a question.
Sure.
How long have you been part of the Art Center in Northport? And give your name real quick.
I'm Victor Gardner, and I started at the Northport Art Center about 10 years ago. I went in there just to kind of browse around, and I saw a poster on the wall saying that there was a class available, a workshop to do scratch art. And I thought, I remember seeing scratch art in one of the schools that I worked at when I was working, and I thought they were beautiful, very dramatic, very beautiful. And I thought, I think I'll look into that. And so Cheryl Unman was the teacher. I was her first and only student at that time. It was a workshop, and I was surprised. I was the only person there. And
started the trend.
Yes. And I've been doing scratch art ever since. I gave up watercolor to do the scratch art. And the Northport Art Center is such a welcoming place. You have to make friends when you go there because it's a very, very friendly place to greet you with open arms.
So I'm going to go back to Dee Dee for a second because you actually said something that I'm going to play off of here.
Okay.
Because there is some really genuine rehab and mental relaxation that happens when you're doing some art projects, isn't there?
Absolutely, absolutely. As a matter of fact, one of the people that was a member of the Art Center, his name is Sergeant Philip Moore, he got so much benefits from doing art that he started a program called the Veterans Art Scholarship. And he raised money through his efforts to provide any veteran free classes for any medium they wish to have. They have workshops on a regular basis that they can attend. And he did this because of the love he had for art and the compassion he has for others. And he wanted to share that with others that may have not really realized the benefits of just self-expression, working on something. One of the veterans that has joined the Art Center since Philip started, in fact, he joined us because of Philip's program. He was an artist, a pottery artist that lived in Asheville, North Carolina. He moved down to Northport. He found Philip's program. He came to the Art Center, and now he is very active in helping us getting that program out. And he said that there's nothing that feels better to him than working with clay and being on the wheel, and it gets out that tension, it gets out that, he says, nobody knows what it's like until they get their hands in it and do something like that. And he wants to take on what Philip's doing and get the word out that art is one of the best ways to relieve your tension and get back into yourself.
And what's really amazing about that story is that we've actually drawn connection with a lot of post-event from our servicemen and women.
Yes.
And, reaching out in a different way to this group of people who really have gone out of their way to protect us, protect our freedoms. Where do you find, in sitting in that room and watching and listening, where do you find the difference is in your mindset when you're part of this whole change? And I'm going to go with the change of culture, because this wasn't around 15, 20 years ago.
Well, first I would say I'm not part of the veterans group.
I understand that, but you're a part of the organization that's pushing this product forward,
Right.
to try to change and enhance maybe their mindset of what's going on today.
Yes. Did you want to say something before I say
Actually, he made me think of something.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
And this is really important too. And this is whenever you said about changing the culture, changing the mindset. One of the things that art does, because it's a self-expression, is that after you're doing it for a while, you become happy to do self-expression, and you become happy to share it with others. And children especially, during COVID, we opened up as soon as we could in June of 2020, and we had lots of children being able to go to art camp. We did social distancing and masking and all that, but we were one of the few places that children could actually go to and be together again. And the kind with teens classes and younger children classes, but the kind of conversations the teens had, the kind of depression they were feeling because of what happens in the whole world, and they're impressionable, they're young, and they need that social contact, that they were able to express themselves. It's a culture where you're supposed to express yourself. So they were able to get feelings and share feelings that in other types of things like sports. I mean, It's good for your body, but it's not necessarily a good place to express your heart feelings. So this art and expression and self-expression, it does bring that to a normalcy, and then that we can all share what our challenges are and how we overcame them and help each other.
It's ironic you bring sports into it, and it doesn't have to do necessarily with the artwork. But I was watching the TV this weekend, and the Philadelphia football team, the Eagles, they did their song and did everything else for Christmas. All right, did you know that?
I didn't know.
So they did this. They're working on this album for Christmas, and back in the day, and I'm going to go back to Chicago Bears day. They had Refrigerator Perry.
Oh yes.
who used to run up the middle, linemen, and they did their Christmas theme. The Browns did their Christmas album, and you talk about expression. You talk about you're talking about 350-pound linemen jumping up on the stage and thinking they can sing, and they can't. But it's okay. But it's kind of the same way with artwork.
Yes.
Get in there, mix it up a little bit, have a good time, and however it turns out, you know what they can never take away? That art.
Absolutely.
Nobody can duplicate that, right?
Yes, it comes from inside.
It does. It comes from
Nobody's just
inside.
going to be the same.
It's funny when you start drawing all these things together, and I could see excitement that could happen in that room, but I can see mental change that can happen in that room too, because you take somebody that's been through maybe some foreign wartime situations. Okay, you've got some post-traumatic syndrome going on. Art is a good reliever for a lot of that, whether it's guitar, whether it's singing, whether it's artwork with your hands, whether it's painting, whether it is doing what you do and what you learn to do in the class. But the beauty is we couldn't have all this if we didn't have a group of people focused over the years, because the art center itself has never been a true staple holder of Northport. It's evolving into that, isn't it?
Yes, well, that's our goal.
Yes.
To make everybody aware that there is a very important place in life. It's another place, but it's an important place that we shouldn't deny, that we should allow each other to be self-expressive in the arts, no matter what your choice of arts, it be dancing, it be music, it be visual arts. Everybody should indulge in it and feel the freedom that you get from having it.
So my one experience at the art center was that we had I think it was the
leadership.
I don't think it was leadership. It was prior to that. It was back in, God bless his soul, Fred Tower days, and Jim Blucher and Vanessa, and it was when it first opened. I think it was the opening ceremony.
2010.
Yes, so that was one of my
2007 actually.
Oh, John. I lost John there for a minute, so I am going to come back up on screen.
There we go. Sorry about that.
We lost you for a
I'll get that
minute.
phone call later. Sorry about that. I thought I had it on.
Oh,
mute,
is that what it was? You got a
Yeah.
phone call?
I took a phone call, sold a couple things, and then I popped right back on the screen. That's how we operate.
Oh,
But
okay.
when you look back at where you guys started in 07,
Yes.
and you look at the lives that you affected back then, what excitement do you have now? And this wasn't meant to be a drawback to what was, but look at where you were and how many people you've affected.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny you bring that up, because Claire Harvey was our youth director, and she was a youth director before we ever had a building. She did youth classes in the library, and they just won an award with her husband Barry Thorne, who does our children's program for the in the South County Healthy Living magazine. Did an inspiration award to an artist, which they happen to be married, so they did it to both, that most inspired others to be artists. And there's so many children, because it's now, gosh, enough time for those children to be adults.
Right, that's right.
And all the stories that happen of children that had gone through the program, and they are especially wonderful at what they do because they're super creative. They make art education a fun time. There's so many fun things that they do, and they've inspired so many children to go out there and be artists. There's some stories of children that have gone through Ringling and are artists now. There's stories of children that had learned skills that they carried on into their adult life, and just great ways and great memories that these children had of being going through art camp.
And what about your free children's programs on Saturdays?
Yes, ever since before we were an art center, Northport Art Center has had free children's classes every Saturday throughout the school year. That is Labor Day through Memorial Day, from 10 a.m. to 11:30. There is a limited seating, so occasionally they do fill up, but if that happens, they'll have a sign outside so you don't have to get out of your car or anything. But it's rare that they have that many children all at once. But they have art teachers from all over the community come in, and different teachers every week, different lessons every week, and they come in and they do an art activity, an art experience. It's different every time, and it's free to the public. It's funded by people
Grants.
like Boca Lupa right here too.
That's
Boca
exactly
Lupa, the money that we get from Boca Lupa, we can pay the teachers and buy the supplies and things like that. So anybody that gives on Giving Tuesday, they can earmark it for a children's free class. That would be wonderful. We also have, like I said before, the free classes for veterans. We have free classes for children. We also have free classes for Loveland Center and the Lotus Center down in Port Charlotte. Children that we call creatively able. They're free to express themselves, and they love art classes. And we started this year giving the Lotus Center free classes too. We did the Loveland Center for a couple years now. So again, the funds that we get through community donations helps all those programs exist in our community for free for the recipients.
Yes, and of course, there's a cost to the Art Center for putting out these programs.
Oh yes.
And so that's why monies from volunteers and people who want to sponsor individuals,
Boca Lupa.
camp, Boca Lupa, you're not kidding. I mean, all of this adds up, and it helps us tremendously.
What's your perspective on how the art center has changed your life?
Well, I tell you, it's a place I look forward to going to every week, and when I'm there, I'm having a good time, but I'm in this zone, right? So when I'm focused on my art, instead of being a ham, but just focused on my art,
I can't believe you would be him.
I'm there. You know, I'm not thinking about bills. I'm not thinking about what I have to do later in the afternoon. I'm not thinking about anything except I'm there in the present moment. And for me, that's a hard thing to do. Because the Buddhists say people often have monkey mind. The monkey jumps around from everything, from subject to subject. And the Buddhists try to meditate so you can be in the moment and just be focused. And that's very difficult for me. But when I do my artwork, I'm focused and I'm in the moment.
Yeah, one of the gifts, actually, when you're talking about the different things and jumping around, one of the things that they had was the empty bowls. And when COVID came around, I was able to purchase a package, which I've never fulfilled. And I was just reminded, Dee Dee, by Jennifer Huber, that was out with me a couple of weeks ago. And she said, "Are you ever going to have that pottery class?" And because I had given it for a gift to 10 people for a Christmas gift 2 years ago. And I said, everything was happening, kept on happening, so I couldn't have it, and putting it together. And I said, okay, the pottery studio got damaged through the Hurricane Ian. I said, I'll have to talk to Dee Dee to see what else we can do. She said, because I want to go and do something there. And I said, okay, so just for everybody to know that they do have where, if you want to do a party there, you can actually put together stuff. You can bring in your own wine or whatever you're drinking and have a fun party. And with even children and stuff, do you do birthday parties?
Yeah. Yes, as a matter of fact, we do birthday parties. And the last birthday party they just did about 2 weekends ago, and it was the cutest thing because the little girl had her birthday party there probably 4 years ago. And she has all the same, and they did portraits 4 years ago, portraits of themselves. And they came back again and had a birthday party again. And this time they did portraits of themselves, and they're young teenagers, like 11 or 12 or 13 age. So there's drastically different these portraits they did of themselves. But it was both birthday parties, and it was both doing the same thing. Now they they do paint-alongs, do any kind of thing. It just so happened that this mother wanted them to do portraits, and it was a success. It was quite cute. It was really cute how they did that way, the theme of that particular party. But yeah, our art center is available for anybody to do any kind of private party or any kind of art-centered meeting. We've had the Kiwanis in there doing a meeting, and we've had the young professionals in, and we've had the leadership classes in. So the Art Center is not only just about art education. We also have a big gallery full of art, and come and enjoy yourself. The poets meet there, the Poets Workshop meet there and do poetry. We have all kind of things available for people. It's not just about art education. It's just the appreciation of art and the atmosphere of the whole place that's important.
I want to go back to 07.
Oh yeah.
Because truthfully, you never get anywhere unless you look at where you were.
True.
Was that a plan back in 07 to have all these extra curricular activities going on? Was that a vision back then? Or was it just, we got to get it started?
Well, I will tell you this, and I know this from reading, because I wasn't there in 07, but I do have newspaper articles about it. And in 07, when they gave that building for the Art Center to rent from the city of Northport, the vision was for the Art Center to someday become a cultural center, because it's not, we're the Northport Area Art Guild. So the vision was that one day Northport would have a cultural center that embraced all the arts. So we're on the stepping stones to get there, and hopefully one day the city embraces the arts and we become just as important as Punta Gorda, Venice, and Sarasota. That's all here in our future, here in Northport, to have all those activities and things. Yes, and appreciation.
Listen, we're 70,000 strong.
Exactly.
Going on 80, pretty strong, I think.
I think they all deserve it.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, do you feel like there's some momentum in your favor now?
Oh, absolutely.
How about the support from not just the community, but community leaders?
Well, sadly, we did lose one of our biggest supporters, as Fred Tower had just passed, and that he was one of the main people that got us into where we are now. And of course, we lost Louise Hall a few years back, who also was one of the biggest fans of the arts and wanting an art culture in the city of Northport. But today we do have our new city manager, Jerome Fletcher, is working with us to help us see a vision, and many of the commissioners have expressed appreciation of what we do, and so hopefully we have some great news that we can come into and share with our community and be something.
So there's
right now we're a little crippled because of the hurricane.
That's
we
all right.
did lose our
you're not alone.
Yeah.
You're not alone.
So,
And this
we're going to recover.
This is where people can step up and really just, if you don't want to donate tonight, throw a party. Bring a couple bottles of wine, go in there and have a good time and learn something. Be part of a whole onset of people who are, just like my friend over here, a trendsetter, who does something totally different than what he did before, but has learned to enjoy it and hopefully master it, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, most definitely. As a matter of fact, he's in a show. The International Scratchboard Society has a show that's at Art Center Manatee. It actually opens the 1st. Or is it the 1st? The 1st. Yeah. And he, international artists all over the world have pieces in this, and Victor has a piece in this show.
So what's it feel like to have that happen to you?
It's hard to put it in words, but I have to say that I'm very pleased that one of my pieces was accepted, to be considered good enough to be
absolutely
on the show. And I certainly thank Cheryl Unwin, the teacher from the Northport Art Center, who taught me a number of skills that I use.
What inspired the piece?
It's a picture of a miner, a man who's a coal miner. And it's based on a photo that's in the National Archives in Washington. And that archive, or that set of pictures, was about people and their jobs. And I think it's a very dramatic picture, you can tell the man is very tired. He probably put in a 10-hour day at least, and he's just covered in coal dust. But at the same time, you can see that there's a certain amount of pride. And I call the picture the breadwinner, because I think that's what his pride is all about. He's the person who puts the food on the table, takes care of his family.
Talk about a changing environment.
Victor, face the camera. We lose your
That's a-
voice when you turn.
That's a big change in American culture from what we used to be. Not that coal miners don't still look like that today, but we were deep into coal mining back then.
Yes.
And lifestyles and life shortening events happened with that. And you talk about being a breadwinner back then. Steel mill workers, the coal miners, all of those types of jobs that
Danger.
had
Health issues.
Oh, massive. And you're talking about a picture that you almost have to go back and say, how did it affect his family life, being the breadwinner? I like your label, because the stressor of being a breadwinner back then is totally different than what it was today, or what it is today. Although we're breadwinners out here, we're just not as prevalent in, I think, a lot of those dangerous jobs in the mass numbers that we had back then.
Right.
And the appreciation to draw that picture up, it had to affect you.
Well, I was very into it when I was doing it.
Face that.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I was very into that picture when I was doing it. I worked so hard to get his eyes correct, the way the photo depicted him, because I really wanted the people who saw my work to know something about this man. Just tell something about this man by looking at him. And the sense that I get, the vibes that I get from this man are very, very positive. It makes me very concerned for him and his family. As you said, because of the dangers and the health issues. Yeah. It's one of my favorite pieces.
Do you see other people engaging with that project the same way that you envisioned?
Yes, usually when people first look at it, the first thing they say is those eyes. They mention the eyes. And so I feel like I've accomplished my mission. And they want to know, do I know this person? Where did you get this from a photograph? Did this come out of your mind? Right away, they're pulled in. They're interested in what's going on.
And how's that changed your art mind? Because you went from, what did you say, water paint?
Watercolor, yeah.
Watercolor, okay. So you went from watercolor to scratch art? Scratch board. All right. So I'm trying to, because I've heard of one, didn't hear the other. So I'm kind of anxious to see this picture.
Yeah, John, Scratchboard is excellent to see. It's on a blackboard, and they scratch away where the white comes through in the different shades, and that it's awesome. Dee Dee and I, in case anybody didn't know, Dee Dee is my co-host on Kaleidoscope of the Arts, and we do a show weekly. But I am kind of, are you guys frozen?
No.
Okay.
You're not even in the movie Frozen.
No, it's not me. Actually, I'll do this. I'm not frozen. I'm alive here. Anyhow, let's talk a little bit about the Boca Lupa Give Back Pro. Oh, look at you. You guys are frozen. You go like this and you're like this. Yeah. And for those on the radio that are listening to us, you're listening to us on WKDW 97.5 FM, real community radio. And you can listen online at www.kdwradio.com. And if you're lucky enough to have an Alexa, I will turn it on for you right now. Alexa, play WKDW 97.5 FM. And we'll,
Oh, that was brilliant.
yeah. So it'll come
You
on.
just set off
right-
4,000
That's right.
Alexas.
Yeah, 4,000. Like that's how many are listening to us right now. Anyhow, don't you have other guests to bring on, John?
I do. In fact, I'm glad you insist that I leave the video right now so I can go get them. So I'll be right back.
Ivory, thank you.
Oh, you guys got to stay on while John's on. Guys, you guys got to stay here with me while John's running away. So, Dee Dee, with the Pizza for a Cause and that, let's talk a little bit about every Tuesday that they pick a different nonprofit and how you go to the Boca Lupa, and I think it's bocalupopizza.com. And if you're a nonprofit in Northport or Charlotte County, you can go ahead and sign up for the Pizza for a Cause. How easy was it, Dee Dee?
I got to tell you, Marie, of all of the fundraisers we've ever done, this is the number one easiest, best tasting, and
All the senses.
yes, it is so easy to do, and everybody loves it. It's successful every time. The owners of Boca Lupa, they make this whole experience so wonderful. They are top notch group of people that
Great
have
people.
this.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
And do you remember how you signed up for it for the second time? Because I wasn't with you guys for the first time, and I said,
Our
Dee,
fundraising chair, Karen Capitosta, she sent a request in and asked if we could be considered. And so they responded back and gave her an open date, and it just so happened it was this Giving Tuesday, and that's how
Giving Tuesday.
we all came together today.
Yeah, but I'm going back for the first time you did it because I was the fundraising chair.
Boss suggested it.
Yeah,
and Marie, because you were aware of this, we weren't even aware of it at the first time we did it. Right around the time we did the Kaleidoscope of the Arts event. And I got to tell you, it was so amazingly easy, and we had such a great time being at the restaurant and talking and having like a party. It was really fun. So any nonprofit that is looking for a great way to have a fundraiser, it couldn't beat it. You couldn't beat it, seriously. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I think John's in the background now, right?
I'm ready.
All right.
Nice seeing you. Talk to you later.
That hasn't eaten. That's me.
Yeah. And they have such great food at Boca Lupa. In fact, I'm looking as soon as we get out there, I'm going to order and go pick it up. I don't know. I think I might be able to do delivery, but I'm going to go pick it up because people might be there. Oh my goodness, it's Carmine.
Carmine,
How you doing?
Miranda.
so we can get a better shot of you.
Need a wide angle.
Okay. No, is Ginger coming on after you?
We can certainly do that. Yeah.
Yeah, because she wants to talk about the symphony and stuff.
Yes.
You're talking about Northport Forward?
Yes.
Or what are you talking about? Anything? It's two guys together in a bar.
What we've done this year, and what we're hoping to do again next year. Partnering with the city and bringing the city, the manager, some of the staff, and also the commissioners out to the local community, different developments, and also some of like the library, the Mullen Center, and basically to have the residents hear what the city is doing, how they're managing the city, what the expectations are going forward. And we've had very good responses by the people after the meetings. Thank you. This was great to hear this news. Great to hear the factual information, and we really appreciate it. Keep this coming. So that's what.
Well, who are you with, Carmine? What is Northport Forward?
I'm sorry.
What is Northport Forward?
Oh, Northport Forward is a nonprofit. We are incorporated in the state of Florida. We are designated as a 501c3 community organization, and our mission is shaping the future of Northport. And how do we do that? By educating, by informing, and inspiring citizens to get involved, understand what the city is doing, know who the players are in the city, to meet their city manager, meet their commissioners, and understand the staff. Basically, understand the different things that are going on. Like we just had a referendum, and there was a very important referendum to talk about the bond for overhauling Price Boulevard. Not only does it need widening, but Hurricane Ian basically pointed out that there was some deficiencies in how the road is constructed. So there's a lot of engineering work that needs to take place. The other referendum was the surtax funds, and the surtax funds is going to be used to pay off the bond. I think they talked about $80 million. So getting that word out to the people. A lot of them didn't understand it. A lot of them didn't know that it existed.
And we had to have yes on both.
And we needed yes on both.
And that's where the confusion came in
Yes.
for citizens.
Yes.
And the one thing that Northport Forward is really based on is education out.
Yes.
You're not trying to shape minds. You're trying to enhance the minds.
Exactly.
Tell me really how that's changed since you started, because it has developed.
Yes, it has developed. Our goal has always been to stay non-political, to put factual information out there, especially in a time of biases, misinformation, disinformation. It's refreshing to have the facts. People want the facts. They're tired of all the misinformation. It's confusing for them. And so our stance has never changed. That's been our goal. And by putting that stuff out, by encouraging dialogue and talking to the citizens about, perfect example is the 6 pillars that the city is running on, which is the vision, is job growth. It is bringing commercial in to offset the tax base. It's a quality of life. It's all of those different things. So by talking to the people about those things, and that is our strong belief. That's the bond that we have with the city, because we believe in that 6-pillar strategy. Now, how has it changed? Northport Forward has evolved where we met the city manager at Heron Creek for his luncheon. We talked to him about what we are, what we do. He checked us out, and we partnered with the city to bring him out to the community. The first place was Island Walk, and naturally there's the D word out there that I'm not going to talk about. But he went out there, was very eloquent in speaking to all of the citizens and residents there. Talked about facts about how and why and what's going on. There's certain items of litigation that he was not able to discuss, but it was successful. There were about 85 people there from the different. I guess it was Grand Paradiso. Victor Dobrin himself was there. John Mizell was there. A lot of the Island Walk residents, and even some of the outlying homes in Renaissance and so on were there. And then we've done, for this past year, starting with Welland Park, we've done 5 others. So we've done a total of 6 of these, what we call meet and mingles. And that was to bring the city manager out to the residents of Northport.
How important was that?
That was extremely important because, people, a lot of people don't go to the city. A lot of people don't know that they can actually make public comment on some of the meetings. They don't know that the meetings are actually on YouTube. A lot of people get their news from, certain Facebook groups from next door. And some of the stuff that I see people talk about, and they're so passionate about what they're saying, but it's wrong information. It's not what's happening. And so it's key that you get directly from the horse's mouth what the city is doing, how they're operating, why they're hiring people now, why the salaries have gone up to retain the best people to have the skills, because we are a growing city, whether we like it or not. There are.
It's gonna grow.
Yeah, it's going to grow. I mean, the projection is, I think, 150,000 people by 2030.
Easy.
And then they're talking about possibly going up to 250,000 people. Now, this wasn't the city's plan. This was General Development Corp back in the late 50s who platted out all this land and sold all this land. I remember as a teenager staying up late at night watching horror movies, watching a commercial with Eric Estrada selling Port Charlotte and selling Northport land. So there are a lot of people who own land, and at a given point in their life, if they're ready for a change from cold weather, if they're ready for retirement and they want to come down to paradise here in Florida, in Northport, they're going to build. And as long as the home that they want to build meets the ULDC and the comp plan, really, you're not going to be able to stop them. And I know a lot of people are, frustrated beyond belief that why are we having all of this growth? And so the idea is, don't just sit back and do nothing and just let the growth overtake us. Let's be diligent. Let's be diligent in deciding and putting out a vision of what it is that we want here and make that happen. And that's what this city manager is doing. He was hired to do just that. And he's got a great staff. All of the people, we've met each and every one of them at all of these different meet and mingles. We really have a great staff with great skills, and they're working, and they are dedicated to do the right thing for Northport. Now, you go out to some of the community organizations and stuff, not the organization, but Facebook pages, next door, they tell a different story. It's like, the city is working against us. Why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they doing that? Well, get yourself involved. And that's why we chose to do this. We're tired of the politicalness. We're tired of the misinformation, disinformation, just factual information. What do we get out of this? The only thing we get out of this is having educated citizens that when it comes time to vote, when it comes time to show up at meetings, they are knowledgeable about what the city is doing. They're knowledgeable about what the vision is for the city. And they can talk to the people who know nothing about it and set them straight and give them factual information and hopefully inspire them to come out. And you can listen to a commission meeting right in your comfort of your home. You can actually do public comment right out of your home, right online. Right. So it's
absolutely. Carmine, why are you at Boca Lupo tonight?
We are at Boca Lupo tonight because Northport Forward supports Northport Arts Center.
And the People for a Cause, yeah.
Yes, it's People for a Cause, but we've been at the one here for when they did it for the symphony. We've been at the first one that they did for the Arts Center. We were at the Arts Center when they did the Art of War for Philip, with the art that he does from his military background. So we believe in Northport Forward is a community organization that supports the other nonprofits that are supporting our community. So we're all working hand in hand, and all of that goes along with what the city manager is trying to do with a community of unity and what he calls MP Square. That's Northport and Northport nonprofits all working together. So that's why we are here. Plus,
and my biggest question is, what did you get for food?
We got it was called a ricotta and sausage pie, and the base of it is a New Jersey tomato pie, and with dollops of ricotta and sausage, and it is good. I got to tell you, that's another reason for being here. The food, the pizza is outstanding.
Okay, so the New Jersey pie by itself, because I'm going to order food after we get off air, and I'm looking at. I've eaten there before, but I'm trying to figure out what other pizzas I'm going to have.
I knew there was a method to your madness.
Yes. And I figured that Carmine Miranda, is that Italian? Because Carmine, I eat in New York at Carmine's.
Yes, I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. My family was Sicilian, and half Sicilian, half Calabrese. So some people could say I'm a hard-headed hothead, but I'll leave it at that. We actually, my wife and I, just got back from Sicily during the couple of weeks in September, and literally we ate our way through Italy. I mean, between the rice bowls, between the croissants, between the pastries, it was just a wonderful experience. And we actually went back to the familial sites where my grandfather and my grandmother grew up. And then we went to Calabria where my mother grew up, and literally walked in their footsteps and have a tremendous appreciation for what they did many, many years ago. Like, my mother was 11 years old when she came to the United States. They left everything and she's never been back. And I salute my grandparents because literally they gave, and I look at the family now, all of us, they gave us the opportunity to have opportunity here in the United States. College, running a business, owning a home, owning a business, whatever it is, they made sacrifices, tremendous sacrifices to come here. And it wasn't that you can get on a plane and in 8 to 10 hours you were there. It was on a ship for, a good 2 weeks or whatever it was. So going to Italy, going to see where they lived, what they did for a living, and walking in their footsteps was a tremendous experience for both me and my wife to understand truly the sacrifices. And we are truly blessed of being able to be here in the United States.
So that's a great story, by the way.
Thank
you. And so many people with the mixed cultures we have here in Northport have very similar stories in their background of their lives. And the appreciation that you have for your community is what is driving you to correct misinformation, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I was brought up, both my parents and my grandparents. We're all not perfect people, and my parents taught me the difference between right and wrong, to do the right things, and I feel that way. I see what's going on in the political realm. That's one of the reasons why we are not political. We don't want to play in that realm. But I feel that there are a set of rules called the Constitution. There are a set of rules when you're driving a car that you're supposed to follow. There's personal etiquette when you're socializing. So there are these things, and people tend to today, not everybody, but people tend to ignore them, and it just makes life that much more frustrating, that much more of kind of hard. Living life hard when really it doesn't have to be. So that's the way I was taught, and when I see something that's not right, it's not right. So just try to do what we can to help.
I want to talk to you a little bit about Northport Forward and what I believe is connection. Okay, and that could be another tab out there for you somewhere, but the connection part is connecting people to information.
Yes.
And both of those two things to our government so that we get accurate information out. Would you say that?
I would say that is the underlying reason why we do what we do, is to bring the community together. You cannot have a city run without community involvement. They'll make decisions the best that they think that the city should look like or be like, and a lot of the residents won't agree with it. But if by coming out and these are people who live here. We've learned by doing these meet and mingles. We've seen Jerome at every one of them. We've seen each individual. Depending on the district that we were performing it in, the district commissioner, we've seen the staff. There was finance, the Parks and Rec, the fire chief, the police chief. They were all there, and the people would go up to them, get to meet them, be able to take pictures. They wanted selfies with them. It was a love fest, truly. And these are good people. They're not out to get us. They're performing. They have tough jobs, and based on their skill level and what they have to do to manage for us, they need to be paid accordingly. Otherwise, they'll go someplace else.
I want to know, because we're probably nearing our end of our time, but because one, I have not eaten Bocalupa pizza, and I've been to 2 places so far, so I've got to get some food and get me taken care of. But you know, I've interviewed you on my show. I've had lots of great conversations with you. I saw how this all was developing. I knew where it was going. I want to know what you feel like now that you've had these meet and greets and meet educationals. I want to know what it feels like to sit there and possibly see minds change.
It's a great feeling to have the folks come out, and at the end of, I mean, to see them listen to what the city manager and even the commissioner has to say about the city and the presentations that are there. They have their pulse, and they look at all of the Facebook sites, they look at Nextdoor, they look at everything, they hear things. We've been able to give them information as well as to the pulse of the community, what the community is saying, what they don't like. And so by doing that, they've incorporated that into their presentation. So it literally covered a lot of, concerning areas that the folks had, but the folks still asked the questions. They got answers, and if there were no answers available, the commissioners or the city manager or even the staff took it down and got them the answer that they needed. And so it's good to see the interaction between the city and the residents. And at the end, when people were walking out, they would come up to us. First, they go to the city manager and shake his hand, shake the commissioner's hand. They come to us, shake our hand, and thank us for doing this. And that, I mean, it's a lot of work to put these things on, but more importantly, it's great satisfaction knowing that people are really into this. I mean, we have a constant contact mailing list that started out with maybe 100 people. We are now up to 650 people.
It's crazy.
And it's crazy because it's refreshing, because people are tired of the bias and the misinformation. They want the straight facts so that they can make an intelligent choice. And if there's something they don't like, they know who they can talk to.
And
they know who to contact in the city.
I'm going to play this real quick, because the truth of the matter is, I've watched people change their mindset because education on a topic does that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Prior to all of this, who would have put this together other than Northport Forward? Who was doing it at the pace you guys are?
At the pace, I don't think there was anybody in the city.
So there's a need.
There's definitely a need. There's a need. We have a need. I mean, we just added 2 more board members. There's always a need to add more people. There's a need to do fundraising to help us be able to put these on, to be able to help us give back to other nonprofits in Northport supporting the Northport community. And that's what we are. That's the designation that we got, was a community organization to help the community, to help other members, citizens, residents of the community in any which way we can help. So we're happy to do this. We've looked back on this year as being successful. We're hoping that we can continue this and actually provide more information. Get the word out as to certain things that that has happened with the hurricane, so that people can truly understand. And I know the city is doing that as well with their podcasts. They actually talked a lot about why did Northport flood, and people should go out to the app Northport Report and look at the podcast and go back and look at that, because all of this water is coming from up north, the Big Slough, and it's coming from Georgia and further up. And with the amount of rain that was dumped, and then you got I'm sure the Army Corps of Engineers lowered Lake Okeechobee. Then we heard Tim Ritchie at one of the commission meetings in a public comment section talk about how Mosaic lowered their dirty water pool about 27 inches. Now, I don't know the extent of the size of that pool, but that's got to be thousands of gallons of dirty water, possibly millions of gallons of dirty water that had flown down these waterways and then just exacerbated the 16-foot, you know, what do they call it? The onslaught of water
Right.
and the, you know,
flood.
11, 12 hours of rain.
Yep.
It was a perfect storm. You know, where else is all this water going to go? So
John,
it's,
are you having anybody else on? Because we'll wrap it up here.
Nope, we're good.
We're good.
We're gonna go. He's gonna go get Ginger real quick.
Okay, and while he's getting Ginger, you and I will talk a little bit about Giving Tuesday, and we'll have Ginger come on and talk. And Carmine, thank you for being on.
Report forward.
Thank you.
Forward, yay! Now, John, as
Yeah.
we're, these are examples of people that give back in the community, and like Northport Forward, those people don't get paid, and they're citizens making and Giving Tuesday is actually, they're passionate about. Those people are very passionate about a cause. Their cause is to educate the citizens of Northport so they can so they can make an educated guess and that they get the facts. Correct, John?
Yes, 100%. You know, this whole thing with Giving Tuesday and listening to the different organizations out here, none of them are paid. Our staff at the radio stations are not paid. We are not a big conglomerate radio station. We don't have advertising dollars being dumped on us. I step back and take a look at what we've done in a short period of time after a huge, and I still believe our government needs to step up and call it what it was, a Cat 5.
Yeah.
Because it truly was. We've never seen anything like it. I hope we never see it again. But all these organizations down here that have volunteers, the CARES of the world, the Goodwills of the world, Salvation's Armies of the world, the Art Centers of the world, whether it's Port Charlotte, Northport, Venice, the symphonies of the world. You know, the funny thing is as a kid, I learned early in life that every time a school board made a decision, they always cut the arts. Always cut the arts. I'm gonna order my dinner.
Okay, you do that. You
but-
want me to take over?
Yeah, go ahead and take over.
Okay.
I'll talk to you guys later, but have a great night.
Okay, just leave your phone there and I'll go ahead. Ginger's there, right?
No, she's not coming on.
Okay. Well, to all of our guests this evening, thank you for coming on, and to Boca Lupa Cold Fire Pizza, there's still time to go and order to go even, and a percentage of your sale goes to the nonprofit they picked. And
My waitress doesn't know it yet, but I'm ordering $4,000 worth of pizzas. Teasing.
Right. Well, everybody, thank you. Have a blessed night. Thank you for coming on for Giving Tuesday. See you again on one of our shows. Or John, when are you on next?
I'm on Friday from 3:05 to 4 o'clock. This Friday.
Yes.
Real Talk Radio.
Real Talk Radio. And you listen to him on streaming on live with kdwradio.com. That's actually John's Facebook page. So thank you, everybody. Have a great day. See you again next year on Giving Tuesday.